Hello my lovely Flosstube friends, and welcome back to the channel. A very warm welcomes to you all. For those of you that are new to the channel and you like what you see and you don't want to miss any further updates, please don't forget to hit the little subscribe button, give me a thumbs up and let me know that you like it. Well, people, what can I say? I'm feeling smugly accomplished today. I was feeling rather accomplished anyway, but then when I've dragged all the stuff out to do this video, I was like, wow, Teresa, you even impressed yourself. So what to tell you all, there's a lot to talk about today. We've got whips, we've got an FO, and for those of you on Instagram, you already know what it is, but you're going to get a close-up and personal view of that. And I have to confess, people, I have haul. I know, I don't do that very often. But this whole not going to work, not being able to go in the garden and do stuff and having to sit my bum on a chair has forced me to do a lot more stitching than I realised. And by doing a lot more stitching, I've also done a lot more watching off Flosstube and cruising Instagram and actually cruising Facebook. So for those of you that were waiting on a reply from me on Messenger, who have recently received one, now you know why. I actually have time. So I've actually gone on and done social media. I'm impressed with it, even myself. So, lots and lots to talk about. And now I'm like, well, where do I start? So I think first things first, let's start with my FO. So Autumn Promise was one of the designs that I've been working on for a while, and it got to a point that there was a stitch that I kept trying to do, and I kept trying to do it over and over, and every single time I read and reread the instructions, I messed it up. So it went into timeout. The only problem was it went into more timeout than even I realised, and with everything else that was going on in the world, it just got left in the back of the cupboard until I actually stumbled across it just before I was going in for my surgery on my hip, and I thought, you know what, that is one of the ones that I need to really revisit. So here it is. This is what the chart is. So it's Autumn Promise, and it's a design by Judy Dixon. Unfortunately, Judy Dixon is now retired and these are discontinued, but they are gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So I started the Autumn Promise back on the 31st of March 2019, and I finished it on the 8th of July this year, 2021. So about now you should be seeing pictures of where you last saw it, if I can find them. And now we have a completed piece. So here it is in all its glory. I absolutely love this piece. Absolutely love this. So let me get it a little closer for you. So I finished, what was it I was finishing? So these were the stitches that I was struggling with. And they were the ones that put it into timeout. Then I got my head around it. Admittedly, they're probably not the tidiest I've seen, but I'm fine with that, because this is my first ever real big Hardanger and drawn thread piece. So I did that. What else did I do? I finished these wrap bars here. I finished around the border. So this is a satin stitch with a back stitch of another colour around the outside. And then I done all of the beautiful beading, which I think really makes all the difference to this piece. Absolutely love it. So I must admit, you know, when you do something, and when I first started this, I wasn't even 100% sure that I would be able to do it. But yeah, it just goes to show what you can turn your hand to when you try. But I absolutely love it. And I love the beads. The beads just made it come alive. So what did I change? The only thing that I changed on this was the beads around the outside edge. So if I get you a little closer, these little gold beads here, they're all the way around the outside. That originally called for a mill heel bead, which I didn't have, but I have lots and lots of beads because I used to do a lot of beading before I actually turned my hand to cross stitch. So the only alteration that I made to this, she says, if I go and have a little look at my own notes, so the gold beads I switched out to Delica beads, 11.0 Delica beads in DB411. And the reason that I did that was the ones that were called for, obviously, I didn't have them. And I have lots of other gold beads. But I decided to go with these ones because they've got like more of a rose gold appearance rather than just a gold. But they weren't antique gold. So I think they complemented quite well with the peaches and the pinks by going with something that was just a little bit more rose gold like. So now that I've actually shown this piece to you, because obviously this has been done for almost the whole of this month, and I really wanted to take it to a framer and get it framed because I'm so excited about getting this hung on my wall. But I thought I would wait until I'd shown you all before it gets put behind glass, because sometimes on camera you can't really quite tell the beauty of something until, or you can't tell the beauty of something whilst it's behind glass. So yeah, absolutely love this piece. So would you believe me if I said that after all of the procrastinating that I did about pulling it out and retrying those stitches and getting this completed, in actual fact I had this fully completed in 4 days. That was all it took. 4 days of stitching this month to get it done from where we last saw it. It just goes to show you, when you put your mind to something, you really can achieve. Well, at least in my case, I can achieve. So an FFO, I have one. It's like happy dance. I haven't had an FFO or FO for some time now, have I? So it's really quite a nice warm fuzzy feeling to get an FO, especially something where it's something that I've turned my hand to that is completely different to anything else that I've done. But now I've done this, I'm itching to start something else that's got Hardanger and drawn thread in it and yeah, all that fun, because sometimes it's quite nice to switch out from just doing cross stitch to doing something a little bit different, and I absolutely love this. I had mentioned that because so many people had said that they would love to get their hands on this chart, I have my copy of this chart. As you can see, it's well worn. I'm not going to lie, it's well worn. It's got a little bit of writing in pencil down the side there. But I have my copy of this chart, and it isn't, although it's a paper chart, it isn't a PDF. This was the original that I received as a pack in the post. But because I know it's discontinued and so many of you have contacted me to say where you could find the chart, I have decided to share the love, people. And I'm going to give you the opportunity to get this. But I will do it at the end of the video. Okay? So hang about to the end of the video and we will go over how we're going to do this giveaway. So on to some whips. The actual bit where I feel accomplished. If I didn't feel accomplished enough already. So next up on the list is my lovely Andromeda. So here is what she will look like when she is completed. And I say lovely loosely because we have fell out a number of times. But I think we're, yeah, I think we're back into, you know, we just need to get her done. So this is another piece that really should be off the list. About now, you should be seeing a picture of when you last saw her. Andromeda got 2 days of love, not a lot. And she's stitched on a 28 count Lugana in the colourway Cyrus by Chromatic Alchemy. And I'm stitching it 2/2, and then the skin is in 1/1 for my sins. So here she is. That is where we've got to. Excuse all of that hanging threads, because I sort of do a bit of parking whilst I'm stitching her. But here she is. So we've still got a bit more skin to do down here, and then I can fill in some bits here, and we've got some legs there. But the bit that I've been stitching on is these portions down here, and that, would you believe it, is the bottom of the design. So that's, when you look at it like that, you start sitting there thinking, well, actually there's not really that much left to go, is there? So really I should sort of make an effort and get her finished, because she deserves to be finished now and out the way. Because yeah, there was a love-hate relationship with her, but there's not, I say there's not much to go, but there probably is. You know what we're like. We sit there and look at it and go, there's not that much to do. But then actually, when you include that I've still got skin to do, and the skin is 1/1, which is very time consuming, yeah, I need to get her done and finished. So that is the lovely Andromeda. And like I say, Andromeda only got 2 days, but it was block colour. So because it was block colour, it was a little bit easier to work with and manage. But I really do need to sort of get a bit of a stitch on. In fact, maybe that's what I'll do. She'll be my next one to work on. In fact, I could actually switch out today. There's no reason why I shouldn't. So Andromeda, so what I've been doing, the one thing I have noticed that's really helped me is the fact that I now have so many different stands and things that help me. So Andromeda I put in a 11 by 9 Q-snap. So that size, and that fits on my lovely Patoki table stand, and there's still enough room to work on that and flip it over. So I can still flip it over, although I do have to do some weird flipping, but that's fine for me. So I use an 11 by 9. Anything more than that just won't fit. So, but it's perfect for little hoops, and it's perfect for a 9 by 9. But I like to have Andromeda on an 11 by 9 on this. And I have that sat on a table, and every now and then I'll pick it up, do a couple of stitches, and then put it down. It's fabulous. So then the next whip that I worked on, and I even posted a picture on Instagram, see? Even I posted a picture on Instagram of me sitting in the garden doing a spot of stitching in the sun. And everyone that I'd been watching had been doing the whole Christmas in July. And I was like, I've never done Christmas in July really. I know that it's very Australian, but I know there's a lot of people in the States that do it, because it helps you get all of your Christmassy type stuff with a bit of a stitch on before we get to the winter, when you actually want to have your Christmas stuff up. So I threw caution to the wind and pulled out my Winter by the Cricket Collection. About now you should be seeing a picture of where you last saw it. Winter got 3 days, and I say it got 3 days. It got 3 days whilst I was sort of half sunbathing, half stitching. So it wasn't 3 full days. This one is being stitched on a 28 count Brittany Lugana in the colourway Tempest by Chromatic Alchemy. I'll put all the information regarding the projects and the fabrics that I'm stitching on in the description box below, because a lot of you do ask me the questions. So here is where we've got to. I love the fabric, and that is true to life. That is a true to life look. So we already had most of the snowman done, and I've now started on the letters. So we've got part of the end there, and then we've moved over to the tea. I think I've run out of that colour. That was the reason that I stopped the N and went this way, was because I actually run out the colour. So I do need to order some more colours. But if you're anything like me, by the time you pay the shipping for one skein, you might as well have ordered some more bits. But I haven't really been that organised that I can go through sort of stash stuff and say, well, are there any other threads that I need to make it so that the shipping's worth it? I always end up just ordering 1 or 2 threads and then sort of sit there and think, I could have actually added a few more bits to that to make it worth my while. So that's sort of what I've done. But yeah, it's still in need of some more threads. I mean, I could, the fact that I'm off work at the moment, I could jump in the car and go to Hobbycraft. But I'm quite reluctant to do that because they charge me over £1 a skein, and I'm not paying £1 a skein. I think it's £1.10 or something like that from Hobbycraft, when I can go to somewhere like Lakeside Needlecrafts and I can get it for way under £1. So yeah, so I'll need to find out what other threads I'm in need of and then actually place an order. So, but it got some love, and I did do a bit of Christmas in July. See. Just to surprise everyone, because I love to do that. So this one I have been doing on a little 9x9 Q-snap. So I put it in that, and I have bought a new little gadget which I'll show you in the haul section of how I was stitching outside at the table, which was yay. It was like, you know, like, wow, how did I not know about this? I do love those how did I not know about it moments. So, like I say, that one, it didn't get lots of stitching on. It got 3 days, but it was 3 on-off-ish days of stitching. So, next up is the lovely Alternative Reality. And about now, you should be seeing a picture of where you last saw it. Alternative Reality is being stitched on a 25 count Easy Guide in Ecru. And I'm stitching it 1/1, full cross. Alternative Reality got 4 days worth of stitching. So here we are. Look at her face. So where did we get to? So whilst I've been stitching and at home, you know, if I haven't been watching the Olympics, I've been watching a fair amount of Flosstube. And I was hanging out with the lovely Karen, the needlebug, and was watching her doing some of her stitching. And I was thinking, she does the diagonal stitching. And I'm like, I don't think diagonal stitching will work for me because I am very set in my blocks. I love the blocks because sometimes it helps with my counting. Don't ask me why, but it does. And I was like, well, I don't want any straight lines. But then it dawned on me, now that I'm actually using Pattern Keeper, there's no reason why I can't be doing the whole chart diagonal blocks. Because up until now, because I was working, I'm assuming because I was working from things like GoodNotes, I was doing it per page because that was how it was showing on GoodNotes. But now that I've switched most of my HAIDs and my full coverage pieces over to the Pattern Keeper app, it shows you everything as a full chart. So I was like, well, I think I'm going to start trying to get as many of my projects on a full diagonal across the whole design. So that is what I'm in the middle of trying to do with all my HAIDs. So just so that you know, all of a sudden it might look a bit odd how I'm staggering. So I think this was a page there, or was that the page? No, that's the page there. So see that bit there, that's the page. So what I'm trying to do is get my diagonals to start marrying up with this, to then bring these bits down to marry up, and then these bits down, and then it will be on a full diagonal. Once I get it to there, then I think I'm going to start doing the whole design on a diagonal 10x10 block. So I'm not doing diagonal stitching, just so that you know, but I am trying to get all of them in their little blocks 10x10 for the whole design. But I absolutely love her, and I do, because that's her dress there, and the fact that I've actually got most of her face now, I'm like, yay. So I was absolutely loving stitching on her this month. So we got quite quite an established amount of stitching done. So Alternative Reality she got 4 days worth of stitching, but I was sat down most of those 4 days. So yeah, I do feel like she got a lot of love. So we worked our way over here. We did some more of her hair. We did a shoulder section. But yeah, love, love, love. Love, love, love. Because I was on a bit of a Haid roll, it was almost like I was switching Haids out. So, oh, I've done a bit on there. Now I want to do a bit on another one. So the next one is another Haid. So it's another Heaven and Earth design. And this is Mini Red Queen, Red Dragon. I'll put the details in. And about now you should be seeing where you last saw this one. Mini Red Queen, Red Dragon got 6 days worth of stitching. And again, absolutely love stitching on this one. This one is being stitched on, she says. Now I'm pretty sure it's a 28 count. Yes, it is. So it's 28 count. And it's being stitched 2/1 in half cross. So this one really moves fast when you get a bit of a stitch on. So here is where I have got to. So again, as you can see, I'm starting to work my way across to get my diagonal down to my lovely little dragline here, so that I can start working the whole design on 10 by 10 blocks. But absolutely love this one. And once I started getting going on it, I realised just how quickly that was stitching up. So, yeah. Beautiful design. I love the fact that it's the half cross because it's moving faster. But I also like the colours because most of the Haids that I've done so far are quite dark. They've got quite a lot of dark areas in, and this one's quite refreshing because this one's all like light and bright. But yeah, absolutely loving that one. So there is the progress on Mini Red Queen, Red Dragon. Like I say, that one is on a 28 count. So this is tiny, tiny squares. But the fact that I'm only doing half cross makes it a lot easier. So that is Mini Red Queen. And then finally for the Haids, I decided that it was very much neglected and needed to be stitched on is my Peacock's Lagoon. I done a little Stitch With Me video as well to help me through it and to get a bit more stitching on it. This one is being stitched on a 25 count Magic Guide in white. And again, this is being stitched on 2/1 10 stitch. So again, it's a half cross. And here is where we've got to. I mean, I love the moon. The moon just looks amazing. The more I look at that, when you stand back from it, it's like, wow, look at the moon. But, and I did mention this on my Stitch With Me video, of which I haven't gone back and looked at the comments yet, people. So if you've commented on what I'm about to talk about, I will see those comments. The one thing that just strikes me as a bit odd is that when you look at the picture, and I'll put a picture of the picture up so you can see the picture. When you look at the picture, that side section there does not show any green. But I'm stitching it and it's calling for green, which I thought was a little odd. I don't know if you can see the green in this picture. It does look a little odd, but I'm sure it's supposed to be there. I've checked the colours. It's definitely the right colours that it's calling for. So I'm just gonna roll with it and see whether it's supposed to be green, but I don't know. I've never seen green in the sky before, but hey, what do I know? I'm hoping that as it moves over, it will merge over, but so yeah, the coverage, a lot of people have asked me the difference between the coverage on a 25 count versus a 28 count in 10 stitch. I would say that on the 25 count half stitch, it's a very good coverage, but I can still see a very small, if you stand away from it, so if I hold it sort of at arm's length and look at it, I can't really see much of the white through the black at the top. But if I get closer to it, I can see some of the white through the top. Whereas on the 28 count, I can't see that. So personally, I think my new thought on these things now, are, if it's in a lot of dark colours and I want to do tent stitch, I think I would do it on a 28 count magic guide half cross rather than a 25. But if it was lighter colours, so all these light colours down here, these lighter blues and the whites, you can't see any white through there. But when I get up to the top, I can see bits of white. But I'm not overly bothered by it. One, because I don't sit and look at something that close when it's done. And secondly, from experience, I know that sometimes when you see the white through it like that, once I wash this and the threads all fluff up, I get a better coverage. On top of which, another thing that I learned along the way was, instead of using the DMC 310, I tend to, whenever I know that I'm going to be stitching black, I will go with the anchor thread. So the anchor equivalent of black, and I will use anchor for the black colours. But yeah, progress, more progress. See, I told you I was feeling accomplished. I'm not sure whether I told you, but this one got 3 days of stitching. So absolutely loved my little Haid mission that I went on. Of course, who doesn't? Who doesn't like a good full coverage like me? This is the one that I've been using on the table stand to do my little stitch with me, which was a bit of a game changer, I have to say. So if you're a person that likes to stitch at a table or at a desk and not on the sofa, this is a bit of a game changer that I will show you, and I'll show you that in the haul section. Okay, so the final piece that I stitched on this month, of course, is my beautiful bad boy, Evening in the Park, my chatelaine. And I threw myself at this because I keep saying, oh, I don't want to do any more trees. But then when I was looking at it, it was like, well, it's not just trees. When I've actually had a look, there's a bit of beadwork that still needs to be doing up on the top. There's even some specialty stitches that I still have left to do. So yeah. Oh, there goes me protectors. Let me see if I can just fold the protectors up over the top. When I say protectors, I use felt in between the stitching and when I roll it on my scroll frame, purely because I'm beading as I go, so I don't want to crush my beads or damage the fabric. So about now you should be seeing when you last saw it. And this, oh, she says, is where we've got to. So, yeah, you can see how tall it is. And today's not a good day to be holding this up above my head because I had my vaccine, my second vaccine yesterday. So my left arm is a little sore. A little sore. Oh, hello, it's upside down. There we go. So, yeah. So what have I stitched on? Let's have a little look. What? Oh, let's stand up again. The hip doesn't like it, people. So we've completed the 2 trees down this side, and I've done all of the snow stitching all there. I still need to bead all of this section. This has not been beaded, and there's a couple of specialty stitches that still need putting in there. And then over this side, as you can see, I've got another tree completed there. I'm just working on this next tree, and then I can do all of the snow in this section. I've got some more snow to do on this side here, like this side, and then we have the top section done. Then I think I'm going to go down and do the corners in these 2 spaces. Then I'll do the gates, and then we'll finish with the trees again, I think. But yeah, I'm happy that I've spent a bit of time doing that. So evening in the park has had 5 days, but when I say 5 days, it's not been 5 days, it's just sort of 5 evenings where I've just sat and done some stitching on it. Because I've had other things to do. But absolutely love this piece, but the trees. In fact, you know what? It's not actually stitching the trees that bothers me. It's the back stitch, like the black branches, because I don't know why. It's really odd. You know, when there's just certain things on some charts, as much as you love the chart, you love the chart. Everything about the chart is amazing, except that one thing that you're like, oh. So yeah, so I don't know. I might try to push to get the rest of the trees on that top section completed today and call it a day on that and move on to something else. But yeah, been having a ball with chatelaines and heids and just stitching and really enjoying my stitching, which is really quite nice. It's quite refreshing knowing that I don't have to worry about anything else, because there's nothing else that I should or have to be doing. I'm just sitting stitching because that's all I'm supposed to be doing. So that is it for the stitching. So that is where I got to. Like I say, I feel accomplished, because it's very difficult sometimes when you're working full time and you've got all these other things that are going on in life to actually sit down and get what I call proper stitching time, apart from on the weekends. And then on the weekends, I always feel bad if I just sit and stitch for the whole day or the whole weekend, because it's like, well, I've got things to do. You know, I've got housework to do. I've got washing to do. You know, I've got gardening to do. I've got building stuff, because that's the other thing. Because the build is still in process, you know, I'm having to research, okay, well, he wants me to decide on this, or he wants me to decide on that, which then requires for me to go Googling and say, well, you know, there's the sinks that I want, or that's the this that I want, or that's what I think I want, so it needs to be laid like this. So you know all that fun that goes with all that type of stuff. So yeah, so I do tend to get pulled in all different directions. But that said, at the moment, I'm not being pulled in any directions, because I'm just supposed to sit. That's all I do, just sit. Although I did take my mum out. Me and my mum went off out gallivanting. We went to Malden Promenade, and mum was in a mobility scooter, I was on my crutches, and we just sort of went from one end to the other, saw the boats, sat and had a little something to eat and a cup of tea, watched the world go past, so to speak. That was really quite refreshing and quite nice. So yeah, so that was all good stuff. Although I have to share this really funny story. So I went to pop down to my mum's, and I normally, because I'm on crutches, I normally take the route of the paving around the garden at the moment. But for some bizarre reason, yesterday I decided I was going to take the route across the grass. Now, although I live in the UK and we do get a lot of rain, where I live in the sunny southeast, we don't get a lot of rain. It won't necessarily always be glorious sunshine, but 9 times out of 10, the people that get the most of the wet weather is in the west and like central. So we still don't get a lot of rain, which obviously my plants and my flowers, they need the rain. So I have an irrigation system installed in my garden, which comes on timers if we don't get enough rain. So I crutched myself across the garden, and as I've gone across the garden, across the grass, I came across this. So I was like, what's that? But then I come across this. And then I come across this. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got some little teeth marks in that. So I was standing there going, well, what on earth? And then when I've looked over to where one of the irrigation sprinklers is, this was missing. And it had just been sort of chewed off the end. And I was just like, what the hell? What happened? What did that? So we also have CCTV. So I've done nothing more than to go on the CCTV and see if I could find when and where this happened and by whom. And as you can see from the video, these are the culprits. That one morning at, I don't know, between 5:30 and 6, it says on there what time it is, these little culprits decided that they wanted to romp around in my garden, through my flowers, have a play, but then while they were there, they found something soft, chewy and flexible that they could play with. As well as digging a massive, well, I say massive hole, that's an over-exaggeration, but digging 2 holes in the grass and digging some of my top planter where my flowers are. I was not best pleased. Not at all. So, yeah, there's something for hubby to fix, because I can't go out and fix it. I mean, I probably could. I could probably try to have a go at that, but I did have a go at staking the dahlias whilst I've been laid up, and let's just say that didn't go well. And those that watched my stitch with me have seen what I did to my own hand, because the one thing you're not supposed to do is play with hammers and stakes whilst you're on crutches and balancing on one leg. So yeah, lessons have been learned, let me say. So that was my funny little story of what's happened. So I have to say a huge heartfelt thank you to the lovely Marion Brooke, who sent me a beautiful random act of kindness. You all know how much I love my full coverage and how much I love my Hades. And lover, she went on to my Hade wish list and picked out one of the designs that I love, which is Faces of Fury 215. Let me show you a picture. Beautiful. But not only did she order me the beautiful chart, which I received as a message in my inbox, but she also sent me all of the floss. So this turned up. I messaged her, thank you so much for the random act of kindness. She really wanted to sort of do it as the whole thing. I was like, well, look, leave me to organise the fabric. And she was kind enough to send me all of the flosses so that I can have a new start. So don't be surprised, people, if all of a sudden there is a new start that happens somewhere between now and September. Because right now I'm all about start all the things. Although I know I've got a lot that I need to finish, but there's a lot of starting of new things that I would like to do. So a huge thank you to Marion for the lovely gift. And it really did brighten my day. So thank you so much. So for those of you that are not interested in haul and were only here for the knit and natter, the little bit of life update and the stitching, I thank you very much for coming and hanging out with me. I do have some haul. It's not a lot. I don't go crazy with haul, but you have all enabled me. And it wasn't just Flosstube that did it. It was Flosstube. It was people that were messaging me. Joe, you know who you are. It was Instagram. It was Facebook. So yeah, I've been like, well, just goes to show you that when I haven't got that much that I have to do, I can creep into social media, and I have delved in. So for those of you that have started to receive little messages from me, you know who you are, who have reached out and sent me Facebook messages that I hadn't even realised I had, and then I've gone through and answered them all. I am so sorry for the delay. I do put it out there, I am truly terrible at social media. But because I'm sort of laid up at the moment and seem to have a lot more time than normal, I have been checking and dabbling and looking. So I thank you so much for all of those that reached out and for your understanding about the fact that I've only just responded to you. So yeah, like I say, totally enabled, couldn't help myself. So one of the things that I had noticed is I love my Potoki table stand, the one that goes on the desk. This one, love this. So I sit it on my lap. I can stitch with it. I lay in bed, I can stitch with it. However, when I've tried to do my little live streams or stitch with me's with this on the table, it makes it very difficult, one, for recording, and two, it still moves around marginally. Now when I'm stitching on it and I've not got a camera over the top of it, it doesn't make the slightest bit of difference to me. It's fine. It does exactly what I want it to do. But when you're trying to record something overhead, it becomes a bit more tricky because it does move, and because I have to flip it the way that you flip it, it moves like on the underside. So because of that, I have tried doing my videos where I'm showing you something that I'm doing from top down over the top of my big stand. However, there's another problem there, that the big stand that I use, my needle need stand, although when I'm stitching on it I don't notice that it slightly wiggles, when you've got a static camera that's sitting over the top, you can see that wiggle, and then when I watch it back I'm like, oh dear, that's not very helpful, is it? Because all they can see is this thing wiggling around. So it just so happened that a friend, a very dear friend that goes to one of the stitching retreats, Jo, who is also known as Handmade by Lady Bird, she's on Etsy, and she also looks after some of the crew retreats that we're going on next year. She uses the Lowry table clamp with the corner holder. Now I do have a Lowry, because that was what my first ever stand was a Lowry. But I didn't really get on with it as much as I thought I would. It was fine, but when my husband bought me my needle knee stand, it was just like I never used it, so it went up in the loft and that's where it stayed. But because most of the time when I'm doing my recording of like stitching, of when I'm stitching, I'm normally in my office. And when I'm sitting in my office, it's sometimes nice to have a piece at the ready that I can just sit and stitch on. So I'd seen her with it at the retreat and thought, you know what? I am the sort of person that although when I go to a retreat, I go and sit in the room and I do some stitching, sometimes I want to go back to the room and just have a bit of me time. Do you know what I mean? When you go to the retreats where it's just all people and then all of a sudden it's like, whew, I need to go and just chill in my room. And I'll go and chill in my room, but then I'll sit there thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind sitting here doing a little bit of quiet stitching on something different, like something smaller. And in that instance, that's where my Patoki would come into play. But now I'm thinking, well, I don't really want to be taking my massive, great big floor stand to retreats. I want to travel light, which will then give me the opportunity to, you know, if I want to travel abroad for a retreat at some point, then I can. But I can't take a massive, great big floor stand the way I do now. So I decided to invest into the little Lowry table stand, or table clamp, with the corner attacher. Now, it doesn't look much like this, but it basically, this bit attaches to the table, and you can either have it so that it's off of the table, or you can have it over the table. But either way, it gives you so much more flexibility as to where your stitching is and which direction you want to face to do your stitching. So if you are the sort of person that likes to sit up at a table, or you're doing retreats where you want to clamp onto the table rather than taking an actual stand, I love this. And so far, ever since, I mean, I don't normally stitch outside in the garden because there isn't really a way to do it so that I can sort of have my body in the sun but still stitch. And this I can. So I clamp that onto the table. Imagine the table's over here. I'm sticking with my legs out facing the sun, and my stitching comes out to where I am. So that way I don't have to sit under the table, in which case my legs aren't seeing any sun because I'm facing the table. This way I can face away from the table or to the side of the table and still do my stitching, which for me is a total deal breaker. And for obviously when I'm doing my video in where I'm recording top down so that I can show you what I'm doing, again, total game changer. So the fact that it's metal as well, as you can see, I've got my needle minders on there, I've got my little scissor holder on there. But yeah, so if you're a table stitcher or you're looking for somewhere to sit up at a table and do your stitching, I mean, you have to buy this as two different pieces though, That's the only thing. I was a bit like, it seems a bit expensive for what it is. When it's a bit, you know, clump of metal there and a clump of metal there. But I threw caution to the wind and thought, well, okay, if I don't want it, I'm sure there'll be someone that will take it off my hands for me. But yeah, so basically, let me just show you what comes with what. So, this comes as a part. So this is one piece, which is the Lowry corner attacher, which you can use this with a Lowry stand, like a full Lowry stand, or with the desk clamp. And then this is the table clamp, which you undo this bit at the bottom, which opens these little clamps. Your table sits into there, and then you've got this, and then you've got a little turner which allows you to release this, and you can have it in any direction you want, and then you put your attachment onto that. So yeah, and then you clamp it that way. So yeah, so if you like to sit up at a table, or you know, you go to retreats, you're looking for that type of thing, this might be another look at. I mean, don't get me wrong, as much as it's a great item, that to me is absolutely useless if I want to go and sit on my sofa and stitch, or I want to go and lay in bed and stitch, because you have to have a desk or a table or something for it to clamp onto. Hence, this still is the baby of all babies, because this has got the versatility of not only folding into this cutesy little thing and not being too heavy, and I can put it on my lap, and I can stitch on the sofa, and I can stitch in bed, and I can put it on a table. But, there is a but, purely because I do recording, and I tend to find that it moves around, I've gone with this as well. But it gives me the versatility. I mean, this is it, let's be honest, I don't spend that much money on my stitching. So the fact that I've got a floor stand, a foldable travel stand, which is universal in all ways, and then I have more of a fixed desk stand. I don't think that's too many stands. I think that's, yeah. I don't think I've gone crazy with the stands. And if I have, well, I don't care. They're my stands. But for those of you that might have been interested, or if this might be a bit of a deal breaker for you, or help you in some way if you're, you know, you only sit up at a desk or a table and stitch, here we go. So that is the Lowry clamp, table desk clamp or table clamp. And that is just the attacher to attach on a corner of a piece rather than where it normally clamps the side of something. So yeah. New favourite thing this month, have to say. Loving that. Doesn't look pretty, admittedly, but very, very functional. Very functional. So that was the first little thing that I have Jo to thank for. Admittedly, I did reach out to her and said to her, can you show me how it sets up? So she done like a little video clip for me of how she sets it on her table outside so she can sit and stitch outside, which obviously just completely did it for me. Then proceeded to give me a garden tour as well, which was fabulous. So thank you, Jo. Thank you for helping me spend yet again more money. So what else is there? So as well as that, again, the lovely Jo enabled me once more. This is what happens when I go on Facebook Messenger and talk and chat to people, especially other stitchers, because they do show me things that I'm like, oh, I've got to have that. I feel like I'm missing out on all the goodies, especially since I haven't actually spent any money on goodies for months and months and months. So the fact that I've gone a little crazy this time is really, I don't think it's such a bad thing. So the next thing that she showed me that wowed me is, I know it's going to seem strange, but it's a little set of scissors. Now, you might be like, well, Teresa, it's just a little set of scissors. but it's not just a little set of scissors. So these are custom scissors. They're a soft touch 10 centimetre scissor, but guess what? It's engraved with my little Teresa little stitcher on the blade. Look at that! There we go. And you see it on the end of the scissors. So no one can ever nick my scissors. Not that anyone would ever nick my scissors, but I like little things like that. That little personalised touch. And it comes in a lovely little leather case to put the scissors in, with like a felt, like velvet background. It's lovely. And the scissors are lovely. And I got these. Now I'm going to butcher the name. Of course I am, because Casa Sanina, is it Casa Sanina? Something along that lines. I'm putting the name of the company below. But the fact that I got a little pair of very beautiful soft touch 10 centimetre scissors with my T little stitcher engraved on the scissor blade. I love those. So cute. So cute. Nice little personalised gift for myself. So thank you, Joe, again for helping me spend yet more money. On top of which, again, Joe is to blame. Joe owns an Etsy store and Facebook called Handmade by Ladybird, and she was the one that made me my lovely floss wallet thing where I unravel it and it's got all my floss and the pockets in it. Well, she showed me a Alts catcher that she made. Of course, I jumped to the idea because I've always got bits of floss floating around all over me, all over the sofa, all over the floor, where they sort of just, I don't know, they're just sort of like, the wind blows, or like, you know, a little breeze will go through the house. Being open plan, that is a problem. The breeze happens and all of a sudden all these little alts just start sort of, you know, drifting off, and before you know it, you go off out and you've got it sort of stuck in your hair, or it's, you know, in your bra, or, you know, hanging off your clothes. So she has made these lovely little floss wallets. Of course, she's made it to match the other little thing. So here it is. Beautiful little floss wallet. Little label, handmade by Ladybird. Little Velcro thing. And then in here is like a, it's like a felt. Mine's glittery. She gave me the glittery one. And basically you put it on the side next to you. And then when you put your alts on, it sort of sticks to it because of the type of fabric. Because this is like a felt thing, the thread sticks to it, so it just sort of stays stuck on there. I thought it was lovely. So I've, needless to say, been using this over on the sofa and sticking all my alts in it, and then I can fold it up at the end of the night and just, yeah, not worry about everything coming with me, including all my alts. So yeah. So I got that from Handmade by Ladybird on Etsy. And it's lovely. So thank you very much, Joe, for helping me spend even more money. Like I didn't need to spend any more money. And that is correct. That is why I have not opened any more of your messages. I'm joking. So whilst I was on my little trundles of, you know, looking at things and stuff, the one thing that I did find was that I wanted a couple more needle minders, but I wanted specific ones. And I went on a little search for some needle minders, and I found a lovely lady called Sammy's Craft Supplies, and she makes handmade resin and Fimo needle minders. I think she's based here in the UK. And here is my little needle. I only bought one because I was like, well, I want to see what they're like first before I actually buy any more. But look at this. Look at that. Is that not like the cutest little thing ever? And she does like little pumpkins and other little things. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. But I haven't used it because I wanted to show you it first, because once that goes on a project, I'll forget and lose it. Well, not lose it, but it will stay on a project and I'll forget to tell you. So, and then finally, whilst watching Flosstube, I was watching the lovely Pam and Steph. Of course, they do make me laugh. And whilst watching them, there was one, I think it was Pam was showing a welcome from the drawn thread that she'd ordered. And I was like, oh, I really like that. I really like that. And then I was like, no, it's nice, but no. And then would you believe it, the very next video that came up on my queue, that I'd queued up, was Mama Loves You GB, Michelle, where she showed her summer one of exactly the same thing. So it was exactly the same, the drawn thread, welcome summer. And then she showed it where she made some alterations to the flag. So instead of the flag being a US flag, it was a UK flag. And I was just like, oh, that's it. She's done it now. So that was it. Before I knew it, there I was trying to find the drawn thread welcome charts here in the UK. Would you believe it? The only one that I could get my hands on here in the UK was at Peakside, and it was the Welcome Christmas. So I snapped that one up, which is here, which is lovely, because I don't really have that many Christmassy things. But I then obviously had to go on to 123 Stitch to be able to get my hands on the other ones. And I thought, well, I only wanted a couple of them. But the fact that I had to pay the shipping and get them from 123 Stitch, because there was nowhere else in the UK that had them, I thought I'd buy the set. So I did. So I've got the spring. Love that one. That one, oh, I can see that one going in my bedroom. We've got the summer. This is the one that, I think this is the one that Pam and Steph were doing, or was it? Yeah. But it's also the one that Michelle showed. And you can see there's the flag. That's the one where she's made the adjustment on the flag to a UK flag. I think she used the England flag rather than the the one with just the red cross on the white background. So I think she changed the flag. So Michelle, I might need to find out from you how you charted that, or have a try of it myself. But love that one. And then because I got that one, it was just stupid not to order the Welcome Autumn. Here it is. I love that. And then finally the Welcome Winter. So there we go. So you see how easy it is for me to get suckered in. It was just, all these months I haven't spent a penny on stitching. I've just stitched on what I've got. And then all of a sudden I just go crazy. Absolutely crazy, and go on this spending spree. And now that I've got these, would you believe it, that most of these call for dinky dyes, which are not cheap. So I thought, well, all right, I'll need to decide which one I now want to stitch, and then order the dinky dyes. I need to decide which one. Which one would you pick for me? There we go. There we go. We're going to let you decide. So which one out of those? So let me run winter, Christmas, summer, spring, or autumn. Which one do I start first, so that I know which threads I need to go and order? Because, well, just because I can, because I want to, because I want another start. Now for the giveaway. Now, like I said before, it is a paper chart only. Okay, it's going to come with paper instructions, of which is my copy. It's my copy of the chart. So it will turn up as a paper chart, but it is just literally A4 sheets of paper. See? With all of the instructions on there for you. It doesn't come with any fabric or threads or beads. You'll need to source those, but it's all in the information. So if you want to go off and source them, you can. If you would like a chance to win yourself The Autumn Promise by Judy Dixon, I just need you to say in the comment, Autumn Promise. Okay, so anyone that puts Autumn Promise, doesn't matter what you write, if you just put Autumn Promise in the comment, I will add you to the draw for this, for you to win the chart. As I know a lot of you don't watch these videos as soon as they get loaded, as soon as they're loaded up, and it takes a few weeks for you to get to them because we all sort of put our videos out at either the end or beginning of the month. I'm going to leave this open until the midnight UK time on the 27th of August. Okay? So you've got until midnight my time on the 27th of August to make a comment in the description box below and just say the words Autumn Promise. Please don't mention giveaway or anything along that lines. It needs to be just the words Autumn Promise in a sentence or on its own. Okay, just so that way I know you want to be entered into the draw. And I will then do a draw in my next monthly update and post this out to whoever is the lucky winner. Usual rules apply. If you're a minor, please make sure that you get your parents' consent, because obviously I will need your address to be able to post this out. So there we go. We're all done. I do feel, like I say, I feel like I've had so much more to talk about and so much more on the stitching side to sort of chat with you about. But the sun is really starting to come out now, making me squint. So I'm starting to sort of feel like I need to put my sunglasses on whilst I'm sitting here. So thank you again so much for hanging out with me. A massive thank you for all of your support, the lovely comments. I get so many messages on Messenger. I get messages on Instagram. I get messages on these YouTube videos. You're all wonderful. This community is amazing. Flosstube is amazing. You are my Flosstube family and you are my stitching community. So thank you so much for all of your support, all of your love. And until next time, people. Bye bye for now.